Hello guys and welcome to my channel. This is Vividly Denisa. Sorry I've been gone for about 2 months now, almost 3. I've gotten super busy. It's almost Christmas time, so a lot of the schools here or students here are having like exams and stuff like that, so it's been very busy. But yeah, I'm back now. Hopefully I can post more regularly, but yeah, it's been a very tough time. But anyway, so I apologize for my absence. So today we're going to be talking about getting your license in Japan. I recently, last month, I want to say November 5th, I got my driving license here in Japan. And the reason I got my license is because I drive a scooter from my house to work and to other places. It makes it a little bit more convenient. The trains here are good, but if you have to get in, around your own city or something like that, you don't have to walk. So my boss was able to give me his scooter, so that's what I drive. I used to use my international license because I did have a license in the US. And so I used to use that because in Japan, in order to ride a scooter, you have to have a car license. For like 50 cc's, you have to have a car license. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to continue riding the scooter, but my international license is going to expire soon, so I need to get my driving license. So I went to the closest place called Komyoike. It's about 40 minutes with a car from where I live. And yeah, so I'm gonna tell you about my experience on that. So I went with my coworker. She's Japanese and she's very sweet, and she agreed to help me through, and she did help me through everything. So she went with me to Komyoike, and right off the bat, like the whole experience was just tiring right from the get-go. They do get a lot of foreigners from other countries, but they get from US as well. And so they were like, we don't really have any records that's like from Kansas, because that's where my license is from. And so they were like, and this was around August. And my coworker was like, she's going home in August. She can bring like other stuff that you need. And so the guy was like, okay, go home, go to your DMV, ask them for your driving record and bring it back, because that's the easiest way for them to process your stuff if they already have like your driving record, or else they're gonna have to look it up. And he showed me like they had stuff from New York and from California, like other people who have, come here to get their license transferred, but they didn't have any for Kansas. So I was like, okay, I'm going home, I'll get the stuff. And so they wanted me to get all these documents, and it was so tedious because they wanted me to remember where I got, like the name of the driving school that I went to. Mind you, I'm 24. I was 23 when I was doing this, but I'm 24 now, and I got my license when I was 17. Like, I don't know where I went. I know it was in Kansas, but I don't know the name. And so they wanted me to remember all this stuff, how the class was, how many driving, like how long. It was just so tedious. But we got through that part. So the first day, you go do the application, you start the application off, you take a test, which is like 10 questions, English, very simple test. You don't really have to worry about studying for that. If you've been driving a car, you can easily get it. And then after the writing test, then you have to schedule to come back for the driving test. Now the driving test is the part that really ticked me off. So I ended up taking the test 3 times. Mind you, you're allowed, I think, 10 times to take the test. I don't know what happens if you fail the 10th time. I don't know if they just like give it to you, or if you have to wait another year. I don't know what happens. But like the first day we went there, we met a woman who had been, her taking it that day would have been her 6th time. So and the people behind the counter behind the desk was telling us like, foreigners, I don't know if, like, she was telling me specifically, like, the foreigner test, you cannot pass that test on the first try. Like, the average try is about 4 to 5 times to pass the test, because it's so difficult. And this is why it's so difficult. They make it so hard. Like, they get a lot of foreigners, so like you would kind of think they would have maybe one person who speaks English. They don't. And I'm not saying like they have to, you know, this is Japan, but it's like, you know, you get a lot of foreigners, because you do. Like, every single time I was there, you could see like there were foreigners. And when I would take the test, there were tons of foreigners who were taking the test that day. And they charge you for every test that you take. So you're making money. I feel like you're making money off of failing foreigners. And it's just, it was so frustrating because they don't really explain anything. Like, they just, before, like the beginning of the test, like, they explain everything to you, the instructions and all that, and they talk really, really fast. So even if you understood Japanese, it's like, okay, slow down, give me time to process it. And like, you can't really ask questions, because every time you ask questions, you're like, I don't know. I'm like, why would you say, if you have any questions, raise your hand if you're gonna tell me you don't know? Like, it was so frustrating. And luckily my coworker was there, so she could help me with, you know, all the questions that I had, and, you know, trying to explain things to me. But it was so frustrating. So the first try, I failed, obviously. And so luckily, as I was taking my test, my coworker was talking to another Japanese woman who was translating for another a group of foreign students. And so she told my coworker that there is this school that kind of teaches you how to navigate the course of Komurike. And it's like 5,000 yen for 1 hour. And so my coworker, very sweet, was able to sign me up for that class. And the guy was so nice. He was so nice. He was so sweet. He explained everything to me. He was like, these are the little tricks that they kind of deduct a lot of points for. Because you go in with 100 points. 70 points, below 70 points, and you're done. Like, you can be driving the course. As soon as you hit minus 70, they're like, okay, we need to go back to the start point. Like, it's so nerve-wracking. So yeah, but he told us how, you know, he told me how to do it. And like, one thing is, like, when you're driving, if you whoever came with you is not allowed in the car. So the only people allowed in the car is the instructor, you, and the next student who's about to take the next test. And so I'm driving the car, and the guy's like speaking Japanese, and I'm just like, I really don't know what you're saying. But like, after the second time, I kind of understood, okay, when he says this is what he means. And so you kind of have to, like, you know, kind of just practice and keep that in mind. Yeah. And so the second time I went there, this was after the driving school. And so I missed one big one, and I was so sad. I was so angry. I was like, oh my God, no, I wanted to get this over with the second time. So we went there the third time, and I passed the test. I was so happy. I made like a 75. And the guy was like this. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I passed. Give me my license. I don't care about if it was 5 points almost. Just give me my license. Let me go home. And so I got my license that day. I was so happy to just be like over the whole situation, because like 9 times, like, we met people who, you know, I met one guy the second time I went there that was taking a test the 9th time, and I was like, and he passed it on the 9th try. I was like, you're so lucky, you were almost at 10. I'm like, I wonder what happens when you hit 10, you know. So I'm like, please, I don't want to have to do this 9 times or 10 times. That would be awful. I just want to do this and get it over with. But and like, the funny thing is, like Japanese people here, they always talk about Genki. Like you have to be, like if you're a worker, you have to be happy all the time. You have to have a smile on your face all the time. But the thing is, like when you go to the DMV, and I feel like it's every DMV in the world, you get that stank face. You get those people who are just like their world is, they're feeling everything. And I thought it was very like funny because they talk about, oh, Japanese people are so happy everywhere, you know. They, like when they're working, they always have this forced smile. But when you go to the DMV, there's none of that. No forced smile. No, like I don't think I saw anyone smile. And I talked to my coworker. I was like, why is it so different here? Like everywhere else, you know, people have this, you know, forced smile, this fake smile. But when you come here, it's like every other DMV in the world. And she told me that it was because like in a private company or a private store, like customers can complain about you and get you fired. But like who are you gonna complain to at a DMV? Like who's gonna be like, oh, we take what you said into consideration and we're gonna fire you? Like, no, the government don't care. The government don't care about your 2 cents. So that's why they don't have to have this forced smile on their face, because they're not really working for you. They're working for the government, and so they don't really have to fake it till they make it, you know. So I thought it was quite, it was like, you guys are just like the DMV in the US. Is this how all DMVs are in the world? I wonder. That would be a fun study. But yeah. So the basic things you need when applying for your license, if you don't have your license from your own country, then you have to go to driving school, and that costs a lot of money, around 200,000 yen to 300,000 yen, which is about $2,000 or 2,500. It depends, especially if you want an English speaking instructor, then you're gonna have to pay more. But yeah, if you're doing a transfer, this is what you need. You need your driving license from your own country, you need your passport, you need your driving record from the states, if you're from the US or from the country that you got your license from. You don't have to have your driving record, but the guy was telling me that it's the fastest way for them to process it, because they don't have to, you know, look it up themselves. They can just look at your driving record and just go through it. So yeah, that's the fastest way if you want it done quicker. What you also need is proof that you were in the country where you got your license 3 months after you got your license. So they want some kind of proof that you stayed in that country for 3 months after you got your license. So this can be your graduation papers, if you have the dates, like if you got your license around when you were a teenager and you have your high school diploma or whatever, and it says the date on there. You can also use your lease, or you can use the, you know, school, anything related to school, like the courses that you took, if it has the dates on there. I use my apartment lease to do that. So, and the funny thing is, like the license that I use, they wanted me to have my license from when I was 17. I was like, first of all, what are you gonna do with that? Like, I have it with me here because I didn't throw it away. I have it here with me, but what are you gonna do with that? That's not valid. My license now is what you should use. And so since I had to change my license once I was 21, I had to get my lease around the time that I changed my license. So yeah, you just need some kind of proof that you were in the country for 3 months. So whatever you can use, that's fine. So yeah, and then you need like basically your residency card, and that's just the card, your alien card that you get if you're working here, or if you're a spouse, or as long as you're not a tourist, you would get that residence card. And you also need, I think, the certificate, the apartment certificate, to say that you're living in your city, and you can get that from your city hall. So that's pretty easy. I think mine was like 300 yen which is like $2. But those are the things that you get. You can use it, I think they give it to you, you can use it for like 6 months, 3 or 6 months, don't quote me on that. But you have to get, if it's past a certain amount of months, then you have to get a new one. But you can just go to your city hall to get that. And then of course you have to go, you have to pay a fee. My fee was about less than 3,000 yen for the application. The driving test you have to pay separately, and that was like 250 yen. Plus you have to pay for renting the car, which is about 150 yen. So it doesn't cost that much. Everything cost me less than 10,000 yen, which is about less than 100 bucks. No. I would say it cost me less than 20,000 yen, which is about 200 bucks, because I had to take the test 3 times. So yeah, it will cost you money, but definitely less expensive than going to a driving school. Because if you were to go to a driving school, you go to the driving school, and once you finish the driving school, you get your license. But that's a lot of money. So definitely cheaper than going to a driving school. It's a lot of headache, but once you pass, it's going to be worth it, because it's like, yay, I just accomplished something. Even though it's something as simple as driving, just accomplished it. But yeah, that was my experience going to getting my license in Japan. I do want to keep driving. I do want to take like little trips around my city or in Osaka, maybe rent a car and do that. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. So when I do that, I'll let you guys know, and maybe we'll go on the trip together. Well, this has been Vividly Denisa. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Thank you guys for bearing with me for the fact that I've been gone for so long. But I will see you guys next week with another video. Good night, bye.